Hi, and welcome to my Chats with Dads, where I speak to busy dads who are running or leading in business about how they manage their energy, their health, their focus whilst they're spinning so many plates. If you're watching live or if you've got any questions after the fact, please say hi or drop a comment in and we'll get back to you. And I'm delighted today to welcome my guest, business owner, financial planner, and dad of 3 young children, Jack Basford. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. My name is Jack. I've got 3 very young boys. I've got a 5-year-old, and we were very fortunate enough to have twins. That was back in 2021. 2022, I started my own business. Been a financial planner for a number of years now, and time in life was right for me to make that decision and to become a leader and do it myself. It's been a hell of a journey since then with my health and well-being. So
yes, awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, because I appreciate you're a busy chap, and I think we planned this one in many weeks ago, didn't we? We put it in advance, and then all of a sudden it's here.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're in between the hours of 9 and 3, so it's good.
Yes,
anytime
exactly.
outside of that, I've got no chance.
So that's the prime spot, and that's why I put them there for myself as well, so that I don't have to flap around. My 11-year-old daughter is at her transition days into high school today, so she's got 2 days in her new high school. So we had that crazy nervous drop off this morning, and then I'll be going picking her up shortly after this. So that's kind of fun. Looking forward to the excitement when she gets home.
That's a big change. That's cool. I mean, because we're doing the same thing with the twins now. They're sort of doing their transition days to they'll start primary school with their older brother in September, but they're August babies and they're still very young. It's a very different experience to when we did it the first time around, because our first was so ready for that change, whereas these guys, because they're that bit younger, it's kind of like, maybe because they're the last ones that we'll go through it with as well, but that whole experience has been really different for us and for them too. So I'm not looking forward to that next stage where they do go up to the big school.
Yeah, it's certainly fun times. The stress level seems to have ratcheted up a little bit with her. So I'm sure she'll be fine. She'll probably, we won't be able to stop her talking later, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cool. So I want to kind of, these conversations really are about, how people like you and I kind of do manage our health and our energy whilst we're doing so much. So obviously you've got a business that's your own, so that demands a lot of your energy and your time, plus a busy family. I guess the place to start is to kind of ask, is there anything specific that you've had to sort of intentionally work on with regards to your health and your energy levels over the last couple of years that can kind of start us off on a conversation about how you manage things?
Yeah, I massively. I feel like in the last 6 months I've been on a massive health journey. The twins were born and starting the new business and everything. Like, life was really busy. And I'm 32 now. So what was I then? Yeah, under 30. Still had the energy. I was doing all the night feeds, doing all the nursery runs, being as involved as a dad as I could be, whilst then also trying to start a business from scratch and go through that process. And late last year, I just felt physically, I didn't feel like I was struggling, but I just felt like I'm not 18 anymore. And that was the first kind of experience that I was getting with my health and fitness, because I'd always been able to sort of like I never ate right. And I'd go to the pub and play darts and drink most weekends. And I'd play football every now and then. But I sort of was just slowing down, and I was starting to feel the effects of not being healthy and not really making an effort. So I decided Christmas, no more drinking. And then January, I decided I'm going to start eating right. And then sort of towards the end of January, I thought for the first time ever, I'm going to get in a gym. I was at a kid's birthday party, the boys at nursery. We went to a birthday party, and I bumped into one of the dads there that I knew from school. Former professional rugby player. I've not seen him in a few years, but I knew he'd retired from the game, and he was just in the best shape I'd ever seen any dad at drop off or any time like that. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you up to? And he was like, well, I'm personal training now. So I was like, right, I don't care. I don't need to know the figures. I need to see you twice a week for the next 6 months. And I'm going to really hit. If I'm doing something, I'm going to jump 2 feet in and do it properly. So yeah, we booked in 6 months worth of training, and I've been doing that now. I'm coming towards the end of that, and I'm in the eating right and just talking to him about what I should be eating and what I shouldn't be eating, the things and the decisions I should be making day to day. And I dropped well over a stone in the first few weeks of starting to weight lift and do things like that. I'm in the shape of my life now, I like to think. I got off the sofa and ran a half marathon a few weeks ago, which I should have trained more for, but I couldn't run. I had a broken leg back in my mid-20s and never really properly trained and recovered from it. So running was always out for me. But yeah, I found like going to the gym, not drinking, making really good health decisions every day has really drastically improved my quality of life and energy, and how I'm able to apply that energy not only within my business, but more importantly with my family as well, and being there every minute of every day. And yeah, it's been a hugely beneficial experience for me. So when I saw you, I think I watched the first episode I watched with you was with Daz Stevens.
Yeah.
Oh, no, really well. It was a really, really great guy down here in Cornwall. And just going through that process and understanding more about what it means to be healthy and what you're doing day to day, it really can make a huge impact, because I was always a bit of a denier. Oh, I don't need all that. I don't need all that. And now it's changed my life completely in 6 months.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. We could wrap up there, but we won't, obviously. But you're right. It's I think, first of all, sort of kudos to you for kind of recognizing it, because a lot of guys that I've worked with in the past, people I've had conversations with, are feeling that sort of little bit of a slide in terms of when you get into your 30s and then beyond, your BMR changes, your basal metabolic rate kind of changes anyway, naturally. And we sort of build comfort into our lives in various places. So a lot of jobs are kind of sedentary. We obviously start to earn a bit more money, so we furnish our houses nicely. We spend more time in them, and so we sort of surround ourselves with comfort, and it can become a bit of a killer, to be honest, because our body's really built for running and fighting and surviving, So I think it's really important to kind of put our body in that state a little bit, and then obviously that you felt the benefits yourself, and I'm a huge advocate for guys just getting out and moving, basically, because it lifts your mind, it lifts your energy levels, it can change your attitude and your mood very quickly, and then you present a better version of yourself to all those people that you're doing it for, the ones that you really care about.
Yeah, and it happens much more. I think when you get it right, it happens much more quickly than you'd expect it to either. I think when the barrier for me in always like being healthy is that whenever I'm doing something, I feel like I've got to do it 100%. So if ever I were to diet or to try and eat healthy, I would have been like, right, I'm eating nothing but like spinach and tomatoes for the next month. And I'd suffer for it. And if I never went to the gym because it just looked like hard work. It looked like something I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to commit to it in the way in which I really want to. And I think that what really helped was being coached into just making small decisions which were better, and to be consistent, which it sounds dull and it sounds like it's going to be something hard to get over, but just changing habits and making sure that if you're going to do something, just do one thing every day. It really does pile up and add up. And I think it's been hugely beneficial for every aspect of my life. So I'd recommend it to anyone thinking about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, I think, like you said, you don't have to, a lot of guys are kind of all or nothing, all in or just not in, basically. And that is a typical sort of tendency, especially when in the aging process, coming out of the 20s where you've just got endless energy and everything's easy. You sort of get a little bit all or nothing. And it feels like it's quite a natural tendency. But, it's fraught with danger. If you do go all in on something and change everything, of course, that's suddenly really difficult, and it's hard to maintain because you've changed everything. So I think the key really is to maybe do a little bit of a self-audit, sort of look at things and go, right, where am I really lacking the most? Is it my nutrition? Is it my movement? Is it my sleep? Is it, my attitude to things, my planning, my organization? Which bit needs the work first. And then
Yeah.
usually if you do a little bit of work on that, the others sort of start to just notch up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think it's, really, and to your point as well, it is a bit boring, to be honest. If you've got a health goal, you kind of need to kind of get back to basics and then have that discipline, and that ideally a bit of accountability is useful, and it doesn't have to be a paid professional. It can be a mate or your partner or somebody that you're sort of accountable to, and just keeping things ticking along and accepting that there's going to be some days when it all goes out the window, and that's okay, as long as you don't say, well, that's it then, and just throw everything out. So I think that's it. Small changes, consistent behaviors, then the habits become a thing that are just you.
I think finding habits and ways to enact those habits in a way is, to me, going to the gym, I'll never enjoy going to the gym. I'm not that guy. But finding a program which, it's not about being able to tolerate it, but it's about being, okay, well, this is okay. I can manage this. So my program is built around like sort of 45 minutes on my own, 5 exercises, lifting heavy and quick, lots of rest, and then getting out. Because to me, to go to the gym and spend half an hour on a bike or something like that, that's not a habit that will suit my kind of personality in the way in which I would really then be able to do it consistently. So it's finding exercise and program and healthy habits which suit you most, and very quickly you'll start realizing that you're doing these things without really thinking about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like, it sounds like you found the right sort of coach as well, because there are some coaches out there who will sort of enforce a plan on you. Whereas actually what they should be doing is working with you to find out what excites you, find out what fires you up, find out how you operate, and then implement a plan that's going to keep you enjoying it. That's really what it's about. And the same with anything, any form of exercise. Do things that you actually enjoy, because then you're just going to keep doing it. That's when you find that consistency. That's when you find motivation, and you just enjoy the thing more.
Well, I looked at it very much in the same way that I look at my work as a financial planner. It's holistic in nature. You're not really talking about money or wealth ever. You're talking about people's lives and what it is that they want to do and what they want to achieve. And looking at what I wanted from sort of like a health plan, then say, it's very much similar. So it's not really about it's not really about the small steps you need to make to get where you want to be. It's about, okay, well, where are you now? Where do you want to be? And I have anyone that I would have involved as a health professional in that process. Well, it's, to me, I see their job is to tell me the key steps I need to do in order to get where I want to be. And then it's my responsibility to do those steps. And financial planning works in very much the same way. And I've gone on further than I needed to then, I think that's really the point. That's sort of where I was looking at, where I needed the support, is to help me. I know where I am now. I know where I want to be. I want to be by the end of the month, when I go to Gran Canaria with my family on my all-inclusive holiday, which costs way too much. I want to feel comfortable walking from my sunbed to the bar without needing to put my shirt back on again because I feel a bit uncomfortable. That was it for me. And I found a professional which was able then to draw me a plan which was bespoke to me and what I needed and what I could do, which would get me there. And I'd hasten to say I probably got there in about half the time what I was expecting to.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear it. Absolutely. It's very much comparable. I love this comment from Mark as well. So feedback's really important, isn't it? So, and I think that's where sometimes working with someone or having that accountability is really useful. Traditionally, a personal trainer or a coach will do some photos and some tape measurements and all these sorts of things. So that's, almost instant kind of feedback. But also, when you're learning, you're learning a skill as well, aren't you? When you go into a gym environment like that and you're being shown some exercises, you should be learning the skill, understanding what the mechanics of your body are doing, understanding how your nutrition is going to support that. There's a lot to be learned there, actually.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like with when it comes to feedback, I think that as feedback, I think we often look for that from external places in terms of you want to. I know I found it when I sort of felt like I was getting in shape a bit. I knew that I was wearing smaller t-shirts. I'm not wearing baggy shirts anymore, and I'm going out and I'm sort of walking around posturing a little bit, waiting for someone to say, "You've been in the gym."
Yeah.
And I think that through the process of my coach did get me to take sort of like the before pictures and then the progress pictures and things like that. And yeah, they're locked away securely in my phone. They're not ever going to become public domain. But the other week, because the whole process has always been about physical when you're in the gym, right? It's always just about, okay, well, how am I looking as physically?
Yeah.
Whereas a week or so ago, I cropped out like neck down and I just looked at my face, and that feedback, which I got from looking at the before eating healthy and exercising regularly and looking what happened to my face, that feedback really shocked me, because my complexion had entirely changed. I know I've still got a few bags here, but that's going to happen genetically, I think. But, but my eyes all cleared up. I had a lazy eye, that's gone. Everything that I could have looked at and thought, right, okay, well, has it got better? It got better. And I wouldn't have had that if I didn't give myself the opportunity to give myself feedback, not look from external places either.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. That's a great shout to do. Use those photos to look at your face, because you're aware of the changes for sure. And I think, and again, probably something you might do with your coach as well is have a little check-in now and again, which is a conversation, and that's an opportunity to ask how you're feeling. How's your energy when you're getting out of bed? How are you feeling about things, in general life? And that is part of that feedback process and that check-in process, isn't it? You'll know. Often when you get into training, especially if you're going to lift a little bit heavy, your sleep tends to improve. So if you're also trying to be a little bit intentional and mindful with your sleep as well, you'll just feel so much better from that sleep as well, and that rest and recovery. So they all sort of knock into each other. They're like little dominoes, I find. And I think they're definitely linked. It's a fascinating thing. I'm going to pop this up on here because this chap here inspires us. It's not the way around. Daz is an absolute legend.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks for looking in, Daz, and looking after us.
I saw Daz. I hadn't seen Daz for 6 months or so, I think, because business and life just get busy. We've met on the networking circuit down here on the West Country. Or I say West Country, Devon and Cornwall, proper West Country, not like you Bristol boys. And I saw him after. Sorry, have I frozen, or is that just a little glitch?
Might be a little glitch.
Okay, cool. I saw him at the Business Fest Southwest event, and I was so pleased to see him, because I just ran across the room and I was just like, Daz, I've been doing it. I've been working out. I've been being healthy, and doing all the things that he's been talking about for so long. And it was kind of, and he was so supportive, and he's a really great guy, Daz. I'd recommend anyone have a chat with Daz.
Yeah, 100%. I think you have frozen actually, so you might want to give your camera a little poke.
Is it a good freeze, or is it no good?
It's a good freeze. Yeah, it looks great. We should screenshot that one.
Yeah. There we go. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Cool.
There we go. Yeah.
So
technical health involved in this as well.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, a lot of technology involved. So we've obviously touched on quite a lot already, and one of the things I sort of deal with and talk to my clients about is the sort of 4 pillars I like to use when I'm working with them. So that is your nutrition. So we've obviously touched a little bit on that. Your movement, and that encompasses all of your movement, including exercise, your sleep and your recovery, and then your kind of mindset, I call it. But when I talk about mindset, I'm talking about your intentions, your attitude, and your organization really around your life and looking after your health. So, of those things, should we touch on nutrition a little bit more? Because obviously you worked with a coach. Did you find that affected your energy systems? Did you have to make adjustments to your nutrition when you started to get and do that training with them?
Yeah, so it was really interesting, because to me, I always thought, okay, well, I've never been overweight, but I was just, in body composition wise, I just felt like, well, there's weight there to lose and muscle to build. And I was really interested to learn just how much more I had to eat and
Yeah.
I was eating sort of like 5 times a day, the right foods though. That was giving me more energy, which was enabling me to work out better, to lift more, and I was still losing weight. And still now to this point, I'm still struggling to put the weight back on again, because it's almost hard work to get enough of the right food in and nutritionally. But the biggest change that I've implemented in my life is when you go out for dinner with the family and you make a healthy decision, and everyone goes, "Oh, you on a diet, are you?" And I like to say that I'm not on a diet. I changed my diet. I'm just more conscious about what I'm eating, or more aware of what different. I look at the back of the pack of whatever it is that I'm eating, and I understand now, having been coached and taught, what those things mean and how they will affect my body. I know for a fact that I wouldn't have been able to run that half marathon if I hadn't fueled properly for it and prepared my body, but internally, well, because I didn't prepare for it externally at all. I didn't run at all. But yeah, the fact that I was able to go out and run that far in a Spider-Man suit as well, it was, that was totally down to the nutrition and understanding more about what I am eating. And it's every day I make a better decision on what I'm eating, and I don't eat sugar much anymore. I don't enjoy the process. I know it's going to set me back, and I know how it's going to make me feel now. So it's I'm feeling really good about what I'm eating.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly important. And I love your coach, sounds great. So I love your point as well. Really, ideally what we should be looking at is trying to actually think about, rather than what food should I restrict, it's about what food should I bring in. Because actually, if you look at food volume and quality of food, you can eat more food in terms of your overall intake, but still put yourself into a calorie deficit. So sadly, our environment is a real tricky place to be nowadays, because everything out there on the shelves is, we've got ultra processed, hyper processed foods all over the place, which are high in calories, but devoid of the natural fibers and the natural nutrients that we really need. So we're eating them, we're not really satisfied by them, therefore we eat more of them, and then our body just turns into a fat storage machine, keeping energy for later. So we've got a really tricky environment, which is, half of the battle of what I do is that education piece around exactly that: food labeling, ingredients, and what you're putting into your body, what you're fueling yourself. The only way that we get energy is from the things we put in here and feed our body. And I think we sort of take that for granted a little bit. We kind of know when we're younger, but we get away with it because our metabolism's high. We're still growing. There's a lot of processes happening that demand energy, so we don't tend to store fat in our teens and our 20s, really. Unless you are highly sedentary, of course. But most people don't. Then, obviously, once we move into that fully grown state, our metabolism starts to change then, and that's when people tend to get caught out. So couple that with bit more comfort, a bit more better income, family life, slowing down. That's where we are. That's why we're seeing this sort of problem, really, with lots of people that are struggling with weight. So it's really important to just have that understanding, really. And I always try and impress on people to go for the best quality of food you can get. So you think about food quality and volume. So lots of vegetables, lots of fruit, lots of fibrous foods, whole good quality proteins as best you can get your hands on, and try and do that most of the time. So we're talking 75-80% of the time, try and do that, and then you're generally going to be okay.
And I think that it when you're aware of all of that for yourself, it can make you obviously more aware of it for your children as well. So I know that even now, like, not drastically, but they'll still have pizza, and if it's a busy night, I'm still doing fish fingers and chips. But there's applying then that knowledge to your children. You've got responsibility as a parent to make sure that you're raising your children as fit and as healthy and as possible, and that has brought across to them as well. And I've noticed that even in them, sometimes if I know that I've fed them right and they've eaten good food, that their moods are different, and that thereby they're easier to look after. So it is really interesting. And I think that the best tip that I had with my nutrition was to not cut out the things that you enjoy, but just to make a better decision with them. So for me, I love a bowl of. I'm still like a 10-year-old at heart. I love a bowl of cereal in the morning. I know that you're supposed to be eating eggs and eggs and eggs and eggs, but for me, it's just I just like cereal, bit of milk in it, whatever. And then rather than cut that out and just say no, that's not right, you need to be eating this. It's to say, right, okay, well, how can you carry on doing the things you want to do and want to eat, but just do it better? So just finding cereals which aren't ultra processed, which do have some elements of protein involved in it too, using a different class of milk where you can. And same with ice cream. I'd have an ice cream every night after dinner, swapping that out for something more healthy or a low calorie. It's never going to be perfect, but at least you're enjoying the process now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think I posted recently on it. I think we need to have joy in our food, because otherwise, what's the bloody point? You know, it's one of the joys in life. It's absolutely essential to life. So we shouldn't be just eating, you know, the same thing over and over again and going super bland. I think we should be enjoying our food, whacking a load of flavor in it, and, you know, getting that balance right. And like you said, if you exclude the things you really love, what is the fun in that? You know, you're just depriving yourself, and quite often that ends up in a disaster, because, you know, you might take chocolate, for example. If you just totally like remove it from your diet altogether, at some point it's likely you're going to break, and you might devour all of the chocolate that you would have not had in the 2 months in one sitting. So, you know, you might as well just sprinkle it in and enjoy it while you're still watching things and taking care.
Well, absolutely. And I think even then you'd be surprised at how quickly your habits will change. I know we still got Easter eggs in this house. Yeah. Because obviously 3 boys, we've got big family. We got tons and tons and tons of it. And normally, it's like, it's in the evening, we should have one of the kids' Easter eggs. Yeah. And like, because now Leah's my wife has joined sort of me in this sort of like health kit as well, and she's doing it far better than even I am. Like, it's all just piling up. What was once, okay, well, we'll have a little bit here and there because we don't want to get rid of everything. It's almost sort of like completely just dissipated naturally and slowly anyway, as we learn to not enjoy it more and more, because we sort of feel where it's going to step us backwards. So rather than going cold turkey, we sort of just dropped it very, very gradually and slowly.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, one of the key things I think as well is if you like we were saying earlier, if you actually focus on good quality food in the first place, so you're prioritizing a good quality protein, you're prioritizing whole foods as much as possible, getting that natural fiber and those nutrients in, your body's well fed, your whole digestive system slows down, your energy levels out, and therefore the cravings sort of dissipate a little bit anyway. So then you're not just relying on willpower alone. You've got that solid base as well that's actually helping you to just sort of keep a control on it. And I think then when you sort of say to yourself, okay, I'm going to let myself have a bit of a treat now, it's sort of all under control, and that treat is really enjoyable, especially if you have it mindfully. And you end up with that stockpile building up rather than your head in a cupboard every night, devouring the kids, trying to explain to the kids why their eggs missing. You're not doing that,
Oh yeah, I never had to do that. Luckily, they're not at an age yet where they're counting them. So
well, they will get to that age. So keep this habit going, because otherwise you just get yourself in trouble. That actually brings me to a point as well, because a lot of the guys I work with, obviously I work with dads primarily, and when I talk to them about accountability, I like them to try and include their children in their goal. So if it's health related, and again, like you said earlier, when you're out for a meal, people say, "Are you on a diet?" And I like to say, "Well, no, I'm just fueling my body well. I'm fueling health in the choices that I make." And I think that's the way to try and dress it. But it's really useful and quite powerful to tell your kids what your goal is in terms of your health, especially if you're going to make some changes, because it's quite easy if you're just doing it by yourself and you've made a promise to yourself. It's quite easy to excuse yourself when things go a bit wrong. Whereas if you share it either, professionally with a coach or somebody you're working with, or with someone you really love and respect, like your wife or your business partner or your best mate or your children, they'll ask you what's going on. So if you sort of say to your 5-year-old, I'm going to play football with you after school twice a week from now on, they're going to be waiting with the football.
They could be buzzing.
So I think there's a real power in kind of embracing that and telling the people that you love the most, about what you're going to do, and small change. You don't have to go into great detail. It doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be an embarrassing conversation, but you can just say, you can expect to see me doing these things now. And then they're gonna ask you why you're not doing them. So you're gonna do them.
We are, as dads. I mean, I know I got 3 boys. My dad always said every day as I was growing up, he said, "You'll think of me 1,000 times a day when you have your own kids." And as I was like, yeah, whatever, dad. But whether you like it or not, you are your child's role model. You may not feel like it yourself. You may be like, oh, they should be looking at footballers or actors or someone that you might look up to, but you are your child's world, and everything that you do, they're watching and they're learning from. And now our eldest, who's 5, he'll ask if he can come to the gym with me. If we present him with any form of new food, he'll go, "Is it healthy?" And I don't think that would have been happening had he not been watching what Leah and I are doing as parents in terms of the choice that we're making. Maybe we're having a different dinner to them because we know they're not going to eat the food that we do for ourselves. They're having something different. But he's looking at what we're eating, and we'll give him some, and it may be something that we would have thought, "Oh, he's never going to eat that." But because he's watching us eat it, and he knows it's healthy and it's good for him, he'll get it down. So it's just accepting that role as a parent, and being. I never really thought I was going to be in that. You don't understand it till you're there, I suppose, and you're feeling it. That your children are really, really looking up to you every day. So even just a little thing we're all picking up on.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. And then, like I say, if you tell them something specific is going to happen, then they will remember it without doubt. And I think the act of telling someone that you're going to do it is similar to sort of how journaling works. I think is that actual, sharing it out, getting it out of yourself tends to solidify it a little bit. It is really important. And I love that, often families do end up cooking separate meals. And I think we should all be trying to explore foods as well. And our daughter reminded us how much they see and hear as well the other day, because myself and my partner were talking downstairs about arrangements for senior school, for secondary school next year in September, while she was up in bed getting ready, lights out. And then I went up to check on her, and she said, "Oh, what were you talking about me in school for downstairs? What's all this?" So even then, she was just like, she heard the conversation. Not that we were trying to hide it, but it was just, we were in a completely different part of the house, and she'd heard it. So, sometimes you tell them something and they don't hear you. But if you say, "Do you want some sweets?" they hear you straight away. So their ears work. They can definitely hear you and see you. And so, you've got to lead. Absolutely, by example.
Always watching, always listening.
Always.
I've learned because we've been battling our first influx of swear words in the house from somewhere.
Oh, right, okay.
I won't share what they are, but that's a different dad chat, isn't it? How do you deal with that?
That is a different chat, But we've had similar conversations as well. She tells me
always listening.
She tells me that she knows some of these, but she knows the F word and the S word. And I'm like, "Do you want to tell me what they are?" And she was like, "No."
Oh, it's when they come to me, they'll go, "I'm going to tell Daddy you said blah, blah, blah." And then they come to me and they go, "Daddy, he said da, 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 da." I'm like, "Don't you say it too?"
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just conscious of time. I'm rattling on through. I was going to ask you then, so about daily non-negotiables. So around your sort of health and managing your energy, have you got any sort of daily non-negotiables that you kind of always try and deliver on?
I've always got to get protein in, regardless of what I eat. I've always got to get my at least 120 grams of protein in. To be honest, I don't calorie count. I don't really gram count. I just know that if there's an opportunity to eat protein, I'll eat it. I always go through as much water as I can. So my wife bought me this at Christmas, and at first I thought, this isn't for me.
All right,
but I'll have that full of water and the fizz tablets, the multivit fizz tablets.
Yeah.
So I'll have one of those a day, and then 3 full bottles of water a day. That I feel that makes a massive difference in my day to day. I won't go to the gym every day. I won't even necessarily be active every day, but every other day at least I'll try and do something which is either in the gym or some form of physical exertion, I'd say. But yeah, but just eating right and drinking every day, that's the only thing I'd really say is my daily non-negotiables.
Yeah. Okay. So real intention then about it on a daily basis is the idea.
Yeah. But it's all driven by habit. I think that it's only intentional for the first couple of weeks, and then you just start doing it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, if you can build it in, it just becomes who you are, and part of your normal routine. It's interesting that first change, that initial point when you do try and make these changes, it does take effort. There is a little bit of pain. You have to get organized. You do have to make an effort. But if you persist with it and persevere with it and keep that discipline, it does just become part of who you are. And I think that's the real message about any long-term goal, is that it's not just the thing you're looking for at the end of the goal. You have to change your identity a little bit up to be that person that you're aiming for.
Well, I mean, if you're sailing a boat and plotting a course across the Atlantic, you don't just set one point on the horizon and then never look again. Lots can happen between here and there and take you off track, or conditions can change. It's important to keep looking back at where it is that you're trying to aim for and then adjusting accordingly as well.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, you have to, it's constant navigation really, isn't it? And just checking in that you are actually heading in the right direction. And if not, at least you know, and you can make an adjustment and make sure
it's exactly the same principles in good financial planning, just applying that now across into health and fitness as well.
Yeah. So that's a good analogy. We can both use that in some content in the next couple of weeks. A little boat on the ocean. Awesome. I'm so thankful for your time today. It's been a brilliant conversation. I could talk to you all day. So if people want to get in touch with you, if people want to know what you're working on at the moment, is there anything special going on, and how do people kind of reach out to you?
Feel free to, I mean, I've got a website. I'm on LinkedIn. Pop me a message on there. Pop me an email. I'm always happy to chat. I always have. Are we talking about dads? Or are we talking about financial planning? I'm not sure.
All of it. Just financial planning for you. But
anybody that wants to have a dad chat, I'm all for it. But as long as you're happy to moan about your kids a little bit with me as well, because I will moan about them first and then come back with 2 positives. But but then in terms of financial planning, I always work on the basis in that I'll always make sure that someone leaves better off for having had the conversation, whether it leads to work for either of us or not. I think it's important to make sure that your time is well spent and that you've gained something from having a conversation. It's for that reason why I have no obligation initial discovery calls, because it gives you an opportunity to just sort of peel back the lid a little bit, see where the opportunity is to help. If the opportunity to help and recover the cost of that help is there, then we can do some work together. But if not, well, at least we can talk about what you can do yourself and take yourself further forward down the line. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, I love that. I hope I do the same when I have conversations, is to try and leave somebody in a better place than where they were when you started the conversation. And I think that's a really nice aim. And it sort of smacks of being genuine and wanting to help as well, which is, really fab.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to dip into the comments. So what we got here, we've got a few little things dropped in. Oh, there we go. There's a nice compliment for you from Daz. Looking great.
There we go. There's the one I've been looking for.
That's the one. That's it. Well done. You've accomplished. You've made it.
I can stop now.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jonathan, thank you for watching. It was a really good chat and really good fun. And then a nice little point here as well from Michael. Yeah, thank you. And this leads me on to something I'm trying to work on at the moment. So I'm currently, or have been, running a dad's strength and fitness sessions on a weekend up here in Bristol. And I'm trying to look to kind of build on that a little bit more and offer more of a sort of peer support network for dads in the local area. So it's not going to be gym based. You don't have to become a part of the gym for this to happen. I'm going to start to push and launch this a little bit in the next couple of weeks. And I just want to kind of what I've noticed from the gym space is that all the guys who come into the gym have told me that their mental health has improved from coming to the gym and having that time together. And lots of little friendships have been sort of happening, and people helping each other with career and home and all these other things that have just happened off the back of being in a space together. So my kind of thoughts around that are that we can actually do more and just bring more dads together. So I want to start to launch, opportunities for dads to come together, go for walks, throw a ball around in a field, walk the dogs, take the kids out for a kickabout, meet up for breakfast or something like that. No agenda, no kind of stick or ball to talk, no score out of 10 on Hayfield, just come along and chat basically and try and build a bit of a network. Because I think there's a lot of power in just getting people together and sharing, and having someone that understands where you're coming from as well as a dad.
That's a great idea. Really great idea. I felt something very similar. When I first became a dad, I was looking through my contacts and thinking, right, who else is a dad that I know?
Yeah.
And it's a new age of parenthood, and we're all doing things differently. It's nice to be able to meet up with other people and know sort of even just bounce ideas off, and it can get frustrating, it can get difficult, and I don't think there's any shame in voicing that out and getting support where you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like you said earlier, sometimes you want to have a moan about the kids, and that's fine. That's okay to do, but you might not want to do it with your partner. That could lead to some fireworks. So, come and have a chat with a bunch of other dads, and they'll all go, yeah, mate, yeah, got you, and put an arm around you.
And hopefully someone's got a worse story than yours. So
and there's going to be a worse story in the room, isn't there? So I think that's the sort of mission through the rest of this year, is to try and build a little bit of a community there for doing that.
That sounds really cool.
So and anyone in Bristol, then have a look at that website. I'm going to be updating that in the next couple of days with information around what we're going to do. So Jack, thank you again so much. It's been an absolutely awesome conversation. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, thanks for having me around.
Yeah, and any questions after the fact, drop a comment, and Jack and I will pick those up in the next couple of days and get back to you. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.